got to. It's portable, it's effective for low volumes, you just pump stuff through the filter and you've got perfectly drinkable water. You can have filthy pond water like that, you just pump it through the system, you get drinkable water. And there's someone who's brave enough to drink it. This is what we did in our demonstration. But then she's Welsh, so she's probably half mad anyway. And I noticed on your EWB website there's a guy that looks as if he's using a very similar thing in Uganda. Has anyone come across that? This is from the UK EWB. They're collecting photographs. They've only got I looked for photographs for this lecture and this is the only one I could find, okay? So water is really, really important as and drinkable water. Now this starts to move into the area of fantasy because I'm not really sure whether these kind of things would work. How would you make seawater drinkable without a lot of energy put into it? So this is the insight that I had that may or may not work. I thought maybe you could make a little pod or maybe a big pod that had like a solar, had a lens that focused on a bed of water within the structure that then evaporated. So this is a system for evaporating seawater and making it into a little pod. Would it work? Well, this is at the pre-engineering stage, you know. You would have to, or someone would, in order to test it out, would have to prototype it, would have to fiddle about with it, would have to think about problems of scale. How big do we have to make this? How do we collect the water once it's been condensed within the body of the thing? But what I really like is that you're ignoring the normal professional boundaries between art, design, engineering and science. Just in the way those boundaries were not important for Leonardo, they shouldn't really be important for you. You don't really think about them, you're just trying to solve some problems using the best intelligence you can, using the best engineering skills you can, and being as imaginative as possible. So this is just my mock-up of what it might look like. I think it might be quite big. It looks like all these flying saucers. And you have a trawler that goes around and harvests the water, you know. So this requires you to engage with a certain sort of creativity. This is another project that we did in Britain a few years ago. I formed a consultancy that did a lot of work in the sustainable area. Now the way that worked is that more and more businesses are worried about issues of compliance and sustainability, so they need to be taught through the legislation. And we discovered in the process of working in this business that people in Britain and in the West generally throw away about 3.3 tons of electronic and electrical waste in their lifetime. You probably come across those kind of figures. In other words, it's your mobile phones, it's your computers, it's your fridge, it's your radios, it's your TV. Over your lifetime, the current figure is you throw away about per individual, you throw away 3.3 tons, okay, of specific art. You might have 5 or 6 mobile phones or whatever. So we decided we'd make a sculpture of the 3.3 tons, and it's called the WE Man because WE is the acronym for waste, electronic and electrical equipment. So this is a project that's a little bit like a sculpture, it's a bit like art, but it's making a point which is about propaganda, saying that isn't it really rather disgraceful that we're polluting the environment? Each of us is generating this amount of stuff in our own lifetime. It became a project for schools to go and look at. It's supported by a very, very good website. If you want to look it up, you can go and look at the giraffe site. It looked like that. So the wee man's teeth are computer mice and so on. And that's a list of the stuff that went into the wee man. The RSA is the Royal Society of Arts. They were the sponsors of this sculpture that now is down in Cornwall in a a great site called the Eden Project. Right, summing up, I'm only giving you a few minutes. Be proud of the tradition that you belong to. Don't ignore or neglect your convergent skills. Move out of the box if you can to the front end of the process. Foster partnerships with others. Think more creatively, both on your own and with other people. Take charge and be leaders. Be more socially adroit. That means work in partnerships, work in good teams, and be directed towards social responsibility. Okay, end of sermon.